Hello and welcome to Nathan's Garage. It's a long time since I've done an intro. Right now, I am on my way to the job that keeps me away from filming more and working on cars more, which is good and bad. The structure of having a job has been great for me. Realizing the imperfections of the job and how little I earn doing it, basically I've never worked so hard and earned so little in my entire life, has been an eye-opener and, you know, made me grateful in ways that I wasn't before. So it's been a very building year so far. And now on to some really sad news, and something that's never happened to me before. People who have watched the channel for a long time will know of Miata Rob with his Golf and his Miata, and he ended up getting a little 65 Mustang. I don't know if that ever made it on the channel or not. Unfortunately, on New Year's Eve, he was stabbed and died. Details are sketchy, but it seems there was a dude who was just out wanting to kill somebody and literally ran at them out of a bush near his house and started fighting, and Rob, you know, was in the front line defending his friends and got stabbed and ran home, didn't realise, and that was kind of, you know, it. And that's been a big, really big eye-opener, as well as to you only get one lifetime. It gets switched off like a light switch at the most unexpected points, so you got to make the most of, you know, everything while you're here. So it's definitely been a contemplatory period of my life, as I say, with quality of life, earnings, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's that news, and you know, unfortunately it is what it is. His family have been out, sorted all this stuff out. There's another couple of very good friends of his who are dealing with stuff as well. So in the future, I really would love to do a build in his honor. He did love the Mutt. He was a huge fan of the Mutt, and you know, the Mutt ended for various reasons. There was certain build shall I say, strategies that I ended up not liking, which I really would have wanted to completely redo, which made the project not viable in my mind. That's why, you know, I sold it to somebody else. Fine, structurally completely fine, but there was just some aesthetics that I wasn't happy with. So as I say, I really would like to do a build in his, you know, in his name in the future. There's plenty on though, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. So that's it really. We're on with the C20, chopping it down to a short bed, and not figured out drivetrain options yet or anything like that. We shall see what happens, and you know, how the earth takes me in that direction. Went to see some more cars last night. There's a possibility that it may happen. One of them is a late 70s, early 80s Impala, obviously with it's either a 305 or a 350, I don't know, and I assume a 350 turbo transmission, which, you know, will all work in the truck if I don't want to rebuild the original engine. But I'm very intrigued to pull that engine down and just see what the carnage is inside. So we shall see what happens with that. And that's about it. I suppose we should get on with the action, right? For a second, let's talk logistics. Right now, the gardener can't even get his mower into the back garden. So we need to deal with logistics. That means making it shorter. First step, bumper removal. Then it's going to be tailgate removal. Then bedside removal if I don't power wash it first. Don't quite know how much crap I want falling into my eyes and my nose. But right now, first step, big old Imperial bolts to get off the bumper. I get heavy and sturdy and last forever and all that, but in ye oldie days, they really did do a bit of overkill, to the point where the rear bumper had to bring out on dollies. Here we go. So what have we lost? About 4 inches? Sounds good to me.
Not that that statement has ever sounded good. So next, tailgate. Tailgate done. Next, spare wheel. It's under there somewhere. Oh look, more desert. Surprising that. Right, got rid of some wood. And now I'm gonna give it a damn good pressure wash. A little more progress, that's better. Not quite overhauling speed, but one foot in front of the other and all that. So I've just familiarised myself with where all the bolts are to try and get that off. That's what's basically just been pressure washed out the bed, and a lot more's in there. So I'm gonna let the water drain out of that tonight. That'll be in the trash tomorrow, or recycle, or re-wood pile tomorrow. And then we may make a start on that side, or that may be kind of next week's job, getting the bed sides off.
Tire carnage.
It's the bedside.
So it is.
Here you go. Let's take the other one off now. The gardener's going to be really happy tomorrow. Today has been a great day. Both bedsides off, a few slats off. Unfortunately, it was cut a little short because the angle grinder decided it would like to cut my finger short, and they had a conversation. So I mean, it's not that bad, but it's like there's a congealing compound that's on it, so that's why it's all bulbous, but it stops the bleeding, and I think it's like antibiotic and stuff like that. So anyway, we're not far. I really wanted to get all those slats off today, the bed front off today. That's not gonna happen. Today, I'd like to pull the engine. Now, the issue I have is that's a slope, and it's never fun pulling an engine on a slope. So in the frame chop process, 8 inches has to come off the back. So I'm thinking, let's do that chop. Then we're going to put trolley jack underneath there, hoik it over, and then pull it back up to that wall, and then hopefully that'll be on flat ground. I've pulled engines before doing that, so hopefully it'll work. A lot of hope. Live my life on hope. You know when you say the words, I'll just, and you assume something's going to be simple, rarely is it. And it seems that looks extended. So it's not going to be 8 inches off there. It's going to be 8 inches off there, I think. So to YouTube I shall go to see how far off the edge that back hole is on other people's trucks. Can you tell? Midday, later in the day, update. It really doesn't look like that much has been done, but oh my God, has it. So obviously, entire front end's off. Tried to get the engine and transmission out together, not happening, because the transmission has this huge damned hump. I don't know if you can see it, on the side of the bell housing, back of the block, it's all covered in this rock hard crud which covers the bolts. So it's just such a nightmare getting bolts out because you just can't get the socket on. You haven't really got any room to hammer the socket on. Blah de blah de blah. So the front end's going to come off anyway, so I've just loosened this. So that'll be coming off next, and then that'll hopefully give me access into that area there. So I may have inadvertently not taken off that side of the shit shield, which unbolted from the starter. But as you can see, put up a valiant fight of keeping the flywheel on the other side of it. But then this one, this shit shield, all these bolts were right sat on the cross member, so I just chopped it. I ran out of patience. But we have had a success. It's been a war, and thank you, sir. Back at it again today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, complete with big hair, as you can see. Gonna get further with that today. I've got to admit I'm feeling a little bit secondhand because yesterday was a thrash with Volvo Yoda. It's really hot today. So we'll see what we get done. Ideally, cab off and then frame in the garage and Steve turfed out. We are ready for action. Okay, engine's out. Garden is obliterated with stuff everywhere. Everything is disconnected as far as I can tell. I'm quite sure there's going to be some stuff that I've forgotten about. Everything's out, tanks out, seats out. Everything's disconnected pedal wise. You know, as clean as the truck is, that came out of the silencer. So I think something had crawled in it and made a really nice home in the silencer. Right, so we're now going to get engine crane out, piece of wood, see if we can lift it. Up there used to be the mud crane, and chopping it down in hindsight was short-sighted, but you know, it's a rusty horrible thing, so it had to go. But it really would have been just a press of a button right now, as opposed to setting all this up and going through whatever I'm about to go through. And I've seen some really fancy pieces of wood made to lift cabs, and this is my version of it, which is kind of shoddy and also fairly rotten, as it's been sat in the back garden in the mud, dirt, since I did Fat Betty and put the cab on the sidewalk. So let's see how this goes. Hitting it with a hammer will help. Bloody life out of him. Today's not easier than yesterday. My plan was to move the frame forward, put the cab behind, and I didn't do calculations, and if I did, they would have been off. I did Fat Betty on the sidewalk, and there's more room out there. Still alive. A week to recover. Chopped my finger off last week. Bit of a bruise this week. Keeping a trend going. Jesus. This morning we found a find. See all this? All going away because it's being updated to discs. So this is off a 75-ish C20, I assume, 3/4 ton, 8 lug, blah blah blah. Went to get it this morning from Hemet. Took me about 4 hours round trip with an hour of talking, so 5. And I just, with all the deft of a ballet ninja, just got it off the back of the truck and onto the dollies. So now up the bane of my life, Clybourne Hill, and into the garage. Then I think I need a nap. Okay, right now, Steve has got himself outside. He stopped being a dick today. And now we're going to try and get that frame up Clybourne Hill into the garage. Had to stop for a second. The old phone was overheating in the sun. Okay, right, so we're just gonna get that. Where's my finger? I can't see it. Kind of round there, and then, as I say, up Clybourne Hill. Okay, before it goes inside, I'm going to wash a bit more desert off. good. I appreciate that. Thank you. Right, frame cutting. Working at night because we've got to get this done. We have a car arriving at weekend. And get ready for it. Get ready for the internet to explode. I'm doing straight cuts. That is the cut. So basically I lined it up on the edge of that hole, got it square, and 12 inches took me to the edge of that hole. Now a lot of people do it from like 3 inches forward of that rear cab mount, but I can't because I've got that brace and I want to keep that in there. So look at that. Oh, what do you think I knew what I was doing? They'd be wrong because I don't. I've no idea what I'm doing. So let's chop it out. And then, have I left enough? Have I left enough? Yeah, I think I have. Look at that. Bit of JB weld. Jobs are good.